today we have Candace Owens with some aggressive words for Taylor Swift. Because in case you haven't heard, Taylor's trying to shape the minds of the young. Is that a good thing? Talking about rotting our brains, we'll talk about a new comedy show on Netflix that's basically bringing Jerry Springer back. Speaking of the 90s, how about exploding pagers? Some of you might not even know what pagers are. Welcome to the Sunday edition of OpenViews, news with a common sense take and an open mind for your opinions.
There was a very clear racial divide. A lot of course, Swifties, as they call themselves, were very upset. Younger white women, no, she's our queen. But black women were like, no, yes, Taylor Swift is very toxic. So before we get into why black women feel that way, I'll first let you guys listen to that clip from backstage. She's the most toxic feminist that's ever existed. And what she does is basically the threat is that if she doesn't get what she wants, she writes a song about a guy and then has 15 million girls singing the songs and drops little clues so they know who it's about. I mean, it's totally psychotic if you really think about it. I don't think you appreciate how psychotic that is, that you can't date her for 2 weeks without her writing a song about you. I mean, what she did to John Mayer as well. He was like, I literally did nothing to her. Like, we went on one date and I didn't deserve this.
You were ruining
And then there's a bunch of like 10-year-old girls whose brains are not developed who then go and attack whoever it is. Like Scooter Braun's family, his young kids literally had to go into hiding and get security.
Let's pause for a second here. The Scooter Braun thing that she's talking about is actually where when she was young and her father decided she wanted to get her daughter into music, he worked with a company and he invested in that company a small amount and then helped start her career as a country artist. Well, nobody knew that she was going to skyrocket. That's absolutely what she did. And so her masters are worth tons of money, but they're owned by this company that her father had worked with. Well, this person or the company sold those masters to Scooter Braun. And Taylor Swift was upset about that. She pretended like she didn't know about that. And so she wrote a song about it and called Scooter out. And so these Swifties threatened Scooter's life. But here, he just, as a business person, bought those masters, did nothing wrong to Taylor. And for all intents and purposes, Taylor should have known about it, should not have been a secret to her. So anyway, manipulative. You can kind of, it paints the picture a bit of what Taylor Swift is like. So now let's fast forward to the newest information about Taylor Swift.
No sign of her boyfriend Travis Kelce as her endorsement of Kamala Harris continues to make headlines and upend the presidential election.
Her endorsement of Kamala Harris is already having an impact on the election, sparking an explosion in voter registration.
In the hours after Taylor Swift endorsed Harris, Vote.gov saw over 330,000 new voters visit their site.
This is a clear effect.
On one end, I'm absolutely thrilled that we're getting more people voting. Countless Americans lost their lives to give us the ability to vote. So that's huge. I'm actually for that, absolutely for younger people getting into politics, researching, understanding. What I struggle with is Taylor Swift on one end says, hey, everybody, go out and do the research and vote. But on the other end, oh, by the way, this is who I'm voting for. To me, that's actually a little disingenuous. In addition to that, is Taylor guilty of a little bit of feminist overreach? I don't know. Listen to this.
Taylor Swift uses feminism to tell people they can't be mean to her instead of using it for its actual purpose.
That is very interesting. So, like, what do you mean?
The people she dates are like, I don't know. I just feel like it's not giving, like she's using it for quite the right reasons.
Cloudy.
Yeah, just like the whole Matty Healy thing and then Ice Spice. It was just like, it wasn't giving.
Yeah.
And of course, you know who Ice Spice and Matty Healy are. I mean, there's no way that you don't know who they are. I mean, you're not that out of touch. Why don't you put in the comments who they are first, and then I'll tell you if you're right about who they I don't know who they were. I had to look them up. Actually, Matty Healy, I heard some of his music. He is a lead singer for the 1975. I have liked some of those songs. Didn't recognize his name, but check that out. And then Ice Spice, rapper known for Bikini Bottom, Princess Diana, in Hamood, and then Kamala remix featuring Taylor Swift. That must be new. I don't know. Anyway, the comments Matty Healy made kind of scummy. Yeah, I mean, he shouldn't have made them. From what I understand, he had apologized for it later. Anyway, point is, at the time, Taylor Swift, talking about feminism, talking about inclusivity, and then had been dating Maddie Healy, who at the time had made some kind of crappy comments. So anyway, what are your thoughts? What do you think? Do you think Taylor Swift it's a good idea for her to influence these minds? Or do you think she's taken it a step too far by actually saying who she's going to vote for? Give me your comments down below. After Taylor made her proclamation, I hear the voting registries have blown up. And that's not the only thing, unfortunately, that has blown up recently. Hundreds of pagers have blown up in Lebanon, worn by Hezbollah, rumored to be triggered by Israel. You might be wondering, how could this even happen? You might be thinking,
I didn't even know Israel could do that. I didn't even know this was possible to be done. I didn't even know people still used pagers. I didn't even know that pagers could explode. I didn't even know that.
Thanks, Tim. My thoughts exactly. How could this even happen? How could these explode? And my initial thought was, well, lithium ion can be pretty dangerous at sometimes, but no. So the rumor is Israel intercepted a shipment of these pagers and placed a small amount of explosive in there with the detonator. And so why were they even using pagers? The understanding there is Israel's surveillance have been tracking cell phones. And so the use of pagers and walkie-talkies and other means of communication are how Hezbollah had been working and talking with each other. Who is Hezbollah even? They're a powerful Shia Muslim political and militant group based in Lebanon. They formed in the 1980s with support from Iran, and Hezbollah's original aim was to resist Israel's occupation in southern Lebanon. But it's since evolved into a significant force with influence across the Middle East. All right, let's change gears from one hellhole to a much lighter, a funnier hellhole. Tim Dillon, a comedian I had mentioned in last Sunday's edition. Very funny comedian, very bizarre, can be very gross and out there at times. He has signed a deal with Netflix for a new show that's starting October 1st. Check out a little bit of this trailer.
You're here to confess to your girlfriend that you used to do porn.
Yeah.
Hello, pigs. I think we can all agree that America's a rotting corpse of an empire and we live in hell. Your husband brought you here today because he wants to confess something. Wait a minute, hold on. Let's talk to the food-poisoned, drug-addicted sex criminals who live here.
We could play Minecraft, Fortnite.
I've never met a more hateable person. This is what America's about. The Unabomber wants to say... My name is Tim Dillon, and regrettably, this is your country.
So if for some reason you missed Jerry Springer in the 90s, it's coming back. That's essentially what the show is. I'm not 100% sure, but if I were to guess, I would say that these are improv people that are coming on. And so I think he's absolutely telling the truth when he says that it's unscripted. I just don't know if it's real. I think you'd probably end up getting sued these days. But the idea is authentic, that's for sure. I don't think there's anything else on TV that's going to be like this. So October 1st, if you have a subscription to Netflix, go ahead and give it a shot. Let me know down below. Do you think this is a good idea, or do you think this is kind of scummy and gross? Put your comments down there. While we are on the comedy train, let's head over to Bill Maher. And he had an interview with Nancy Pelosi recently. And he dropped a line that I can't say that I expected, but I think some people got a laugh out of it. She did not. Check this out. So Bill and Nancy basically just got done talking about their opinions about the January 6th, and Nancy goes into how she encourages people to run for office, how she encourages women to run for office. And so Bill doesn't miss this opportunity to point out what I think a lot of Americans felt just happened a few months ago.
Many times when I'm encouraging people to run, especially more women, to run for office, nothing more wholesome than our political process than that. Aren't we excited about...
Yes, and sometimes you're discouraging people to run. We're not going to get into that.
No,
whatever.
people make their own decisions.
Absolutely they do. Absolutely they do.
And then Bill tries to save it. Absolutely, they make their own decisions. Of course, this had nothing to do with maybe her or others pushing Joe Biden out. What I'll say is, for those out there that say that that didn't happen, the laughter on the show, which is a very democratic show, would tell you otherwise. That said, regardless, do you think it was right to push Joe out and to bring Kamala in, who unfortunately did not have any delegate votes back in the last primary? Was that a good idea? Was that a bad idea? What do you think? Do you think that was right? Or do you think that was wrong? Or do you think we need to go through some other process to get a replacement when the decision was made for Joe not to be that person? Give me your thoughts down below. All right, shorter episode for today. Next week, look for a much longer one to appear. Had a lot of tweaks, a lot of different things I had to do this week, so unfortunately, this was all that I had time for. But leave your comments down below. What did you like? What didn't you like? And what are you looking for in the next episode? Until then, I'll have last week's episode up in the corner.